Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, November 12th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we are looking at OPEN, and another big mover today, higher highs, higher lows. So ever since it bottomed out right there, or seemingly has bottomed out right there, whoop, I guess you can't quite see that. But overall, the price has continued to move very, very nicely from there. So let's get a couple of key levels mapped out. Although the pattern that I see right now, and let me be very clear, just because something is, a certain type of pattern does not guarantee anything. Because as of right now, I would consider OPEN to have a rising wedge pattern. Now, the rising wedge pattern, I should note, is a bearish pattern. But just because something's bearish does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go down. And especially here, the price technically already broke through it. And then this last 30 minutes has battled back up inside of the pattern. So maybe this was just a false alarm. That is totally possible. But on the same note, I can also see this thing maybe needing to pull back a little bit more. On that note, please don't conflate two terms. Pulling back and reversing are two different things. I'm not saying that just because it pulls back and comes down that that's a full-blown reversal. But pullbacks need to happen. Nothing can go straight up. So I'm still thinking that potentially a pullback is needed, but I'm also willing to concede that as the price bounces back inside of the pattern, maybe this breakdown here was just a false alarm. But either way, we have the rising wedge, which is bearish and is seemingly kind of kicking into gear. But right here, this candle right here, maybe is just punching it in the face. But overall, it'll be very interesting to see how this continues to play out moving forward into Wednesday. But as of now, from a bigger picture, as long as this thing keeps on putting those higher highs and higher lows, that is by far what matters most. Next one here, Mspr, and this is a little tricky to talk about because it's all about perspective. If you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, maybe you bought the dip right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the things are looking pretty rough. But from the bigger picture standpoint, everything is still fine because when you stop and think about it, back here on Monday, the price was all the way here. Now, all of a sudden, the price, even with the bigger pullback today, is still up higher than where it was. So there is still the opportunity to build an overall higher base. But again, from a standpoint of if you're a day trader that bought right there, yeah, you don't really care about a higher base. But that's where it's all about kind of the vantage point that you had moving into the trade. Now, as far as technical levels, the one that stands out like a sore thumb is on the resistance side of things. And that has to do with the pink line right there, that 200 period moving average, which you can see right there, rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price a couple more times. So if there is any sort of attempt to move back upwards right now, we'll call it 58.5 cents will be that key battleground that you'll have to watch from the resistance side of things. If this pullback does continue, then I would definitely consider, a very important a do or die level of support right here at 0.415, so 41.5 cents. Why is that level so important? And I'm not saying this will occur, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break below it, all of a sudden you have the price having gone right back to where it was. I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves and then go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why in my mind that 41.5 cent mark, very, very important from the support side of things. Next one here, looking at BBAI, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but if you have talked about this red line here as resistance, and you can't make this stuff up, gap up today, and that is right where the price got rejected with a big rejection. So this trend line here is apparently still packing quite a bit of strength with it. So keep an eye on that, although really in the near term, this is irrelevant because the first key level that the price will need to break back above is that pink line right there, the 200 period moving average right now valued at 647. So yes, that upward trend line is still a key level, but it's not really as key because the first key level is, again, $6.47. As far as supports are concerned, same general idea. In fact, let me just get rid of that, of what I talked about in terms of, is this a truly strong move? Price definitely needs to stay up above that $5.79 mark. Because if the price were to come down here and break below it, again, same logic that I just talked about. That's putting the price back to where it was, and that is just not a sign of true power for a price to make a great move and then go back to where it started. So to reiterate, I'm not saying the price is headed below that level, but just pointing out why that area is very important to stay above. Next one, Rivn, and just a beautiful, beautiful overall uptrend, higher highs and higher lows. So let's get some levels mapped out here. The ideal level of support, when you say, hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay up here above $17.20. Now, if the price drops below there, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world or anything like that. But yeah, if the price could stay above there, that would be a very impressive sign. Now, taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture, that is where the purple line comes into play, the 50-period simple moving average. Keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So from an overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above that purple line, then the overall chart is doing just fine. Now, if you're somebody that bought, way up here, then yeah, that can be a little scary to think it could drop all the way down there. But overall, I'm saying under the assumption that you do care about the broad scope of things, then staying above that purple line, as long as it stays above there, everything is doing just fine. So as far as, sorry, I was just trying to figure out levels of resistance. And now we're on the weekly time frame. So instead of each one of these representing 30 minutes, each one now represents an entire week. But that is because we have to go back way far in the chart's history to figure where the next level of resistance is at. And that's from way back here and from, let's see, July of 2024 up at 1895. So keep an eye on that level as the next key battleground. But anyway, look at it. Very, very powerful past couple of weeks. Next one here, Nvda. And overall, things are doing just fine. Now, I understand this is, once again, perspective. If you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you're buying right around there, looking for the break right there, then yes, for you, today, not a good day with the gap down. But from the big picture, yeah, gap down, but it's not like it, even closed that gap right there, let alone drop down below it. So overall, the price is still got, has plenty of opportunity to build that higher base. So yes, overall, you still have that trend line as the main area of resistance, but before you put too much emphasis on that, in the very near term, that first key battleground to watch would be the pink line right there, that 200-period moving average, so keep a close eye on that. And then in terms of areas of support, watch that purple line very closely. So far, so good. It is doing a good job right there of holding up above that area. But if it comes down more, then yeah, 190.75 important, because we once again go back to that whole principle of you at least wanting to see signs of progress, where if the price comes down here, the further it goes down, the further it gets to going back to where it was, which, as discussed, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. So we'll see how it goes and see, step one, if on Wednesday, Nvidia can get back above that pink line or not. Real quick, want to take a break and help you solve a very common problem that maybe pertains to you, and that is people desiring to be day traders. And I define day trader as having unlimited day trades every single day, but they can't because of that pattern day trading rule. Well, please realize there is a market out there where there's no pattern day trading rule, and you can get involved and keep your risk very, very small with the potential at very, very nice upside. But I understand if all this sounds sketchy, too good to be true, which is why I'm inviting you, come swing by the live stream, start every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, because I put my money where my mouth is, and this is exactly what I'm doing. So come to the live stream, see it with your very own eyes, and ask me any questions that you may have. Next one here, looking at PLUG, and overall, it's hanging in there in the sense of, let's get this level out first, that the price did ultimately bounce from these lows at 236. Had it gone down there, which it did earlier on in the day, and then broken down through that area, well, that would have put it down at lower lows than it's not seen in a very long time. But again, to give credit where credit's due, very nice bounce from those lows, and now things really transitioning into how much of a bounce is this going to be. So it's already bounced, but is there more power? Is there more momentum behind it? And that'll be the big question mark here headed in to Wednesday. So the next key battleground to watch from a resistance standpoint, if this is going to continue, right up here around $2.63. And then the next key more so overarching level would be that pink line up there, that 200-period moving average, but one hurdle at a time, and that first key hurdle to clear right there at 263. And then, of course, if the price does roll back over, maybe there's some sort of triple bottom. But if the price rolls back over and then breaks down through there, yeah, that would not be a good sign at all for the bulls. Next one here is CLSK. Rough day on this one as it got hammered back to the downside, although we do have a very interesting dynamic here, at least I think we do. Yeah, there we go. We have this well-defined trend line, but the last 30 minutes of the day has now made this a very interesting situation because the price is now right below it. So while that doesn't mean anything per se, it does at least present an interesting scenario where we can throw out the question, well, if the price breaks that trend line, will that generate some upside buying pressure? Now, no guarantees, but certainly a valid question to throw out there. So if you like to play these situations where a stock gets beat down, but then all of a sudden it starts to show signs of life, and in this situation, it is showing signs of life twofold. Fold number one, it's at least going sideways, and fold number two, we're getting some upwards movement. Again, neither of these things combined makes any guarantee, but it certainly makes it valid to think that maybe, just maybe, some sort of bounce is getting ready to take place over the next couple of days. So if you like these sorts of scenarios, then certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, Bynd, and unfortunately, the movement on Monday was just a dead cat bounce. To give credit where credit's due, from where it was here all the way up to here, that was very solid. But now that we have more data and we see where the price has gone right here, it's going back to kind of the theme that I've talked about several times now. But in this situation, the price has essentially gone right back to where it all started. That doesn't mean another nice move can't happen or anything like that. I'm just saying relative to the very nice movement here that occurred on Monday, yeah, there was not any sort of genuine power behind it. It was a dead cat bounce. And, you know, what gives you the right to call it a dead cat bounce? Again, that very basic logic. Nice move up, and now the price is essentially right back to where it started. If there is going to be an attempted nice move back in the upwards direction, that first key hurdle now becomes a purple line there. The 50-period moving average right now valued at $1.27. If the price continues on down, then yeah, keep a close eye on these lows down here. If the price goes down there and violates those, well, that would be putting the price back at lows that it has not seen for a very long time. Next one, Achr, and there's no doubt about it that from where this was down here on Friday to where it is right now, this has been a very, very nice bounce, which does lead to the question, okay, well, is this bounce still healthy? And I understand that's kind of just a broad, maybe kind of very hard to visualize, but that's what makes charts very, very nice, is they allow you to take abstract. That's the idea, or that's the word I was looking for. So me just saying, hey, is this healthy? Okay, that's kind of abstract, but with charts, you can make abstract ideas very, very clean cut, and in my mind, that is where that trend line comes into place. And the logic here is very simple. As long as the price stays above that uptrending trend line, then that means the price itself is building higher bases. And from a bullish standpoint, that's what a healthy move is all about. You just want to see higher bases. Take note, I'm not saying prices has got to go straight up. No, nothing is going to go straight up. But it does want to, it should at least build those higher bases, and that is what that trend line is representing. So as long as the price stays above that uptrending trend line, that therefore implies the price is in an uptrend, which therefore implies the bulls are still, generally speaking, in a healthy situation. As far as levels of resistance are concerned, next key battleground right here around $9.10. So keep an eye on that. But overall, at least in my opinion, most important dynamic is whether or not the price can stay above that trend line. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall the chart is hanging in there, but it's had a rough day with the gap down. It came down here, but it did close very nicely on the day. You can see the last 30 minutes here. Volume returned. Good solid green candle. There's still work that needs to be done. That first bit of quote-unquote work is whether now the price can get back above 442. You can see opening 30 minutes right there. Price could not quite get above it, and it got smacked back down. Does not mean that it'll get smacked back down again, but that is going to be that first bit of quote-unquote work that the price and the bulls will have to push through resistance-wise. If the price can push up through there, next key level after that would be that pink line, 200-period moving average. Right now valid at, we'll call it 447.75, and you can see back here quite the history of rejecting the price from a couple days ago. If the price does pull back down, then I would consider the must-hold level down here at 423.65. And that's not even close to being tested. But if the price were to go down there and break down through it, again, that is now starting to put the price even down below those lows, which is not exactly a sign of bullishness or anything that you want to see. But in my opinion, it's very interesting now moving forward because of that last 30 minutes. Good solid volume, nice green candle. Will this lead to more momentum and breaking through these areas of resistance? Grab your popcorn for Wednesday. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you are sick and tired of the pattern day trend rule, or you just want a market that moves, quite frankly, way better than small caps and low floats and penny stocks anyways, and you have a lot less risk based on the whole nature of it all, then definitely check out the link. Or if you're very skeptical, which I understand, then swing by the live stream, see it unfold with your very own eyes, ask me any sort of questions, as I'd be happy to provide any sort of clarity for you. But I just want you to be aware of that you do not have to be trapped in the world of penny stocks or trapped with the pattern day trader rule. In this day and age, there are other strategies from a day trading standpoint that you should consider. So, like I said, swing by the live stream, see it with your very own eyes, ask me any sort of questions that you may have. So, thanks for watching. Have a good one.